Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, we are taking a look at Dark Magician Spellbook, which kind of has some synergy. So let's talk about the synergy that it does have. First of all, the Spellbook cards oftentimes require a spellcaster, and Dark Magician can get spellcasters onto the field pretty consistently, also allowing us to go into Crowley pretty easily. Also, unlike the pure Spellbook variant, you are able to actually close out the game. This is the biggest advantage that Dark Magician has, being able to go into access code through the Selene line, while also having a Dark Magician on your side of the field can easily accumulate lethal as long as you have like 500 extra damage. I think it's 200 actually that you need. On top of that, you are able to play something like Jaugen the Spiritualist with the Spellbook stuff in order to lock your opponent out of the duel, basically. So yeah, all of these things just make it very easy to deal with the opponent's board. However, there are a lot of downsides. It's rather inconsistent, and most notably, it doesn't have the highest of power level. Going first, basically you're setting up maybe something like Fate, Magic Circle, Eternal Soul with basically a banish. So you're banishing a monster and maybe something else. That's about it. It's not really the highest of power levels, but it can get the job done. So let's talk about the card by card. Starting off, we are, of course, playing to a Dark Magician. You just cut down on this card just because, yeah, you don't really need it all that often. And you can see it through things like Magician's Souls, which we are obviously maxing out on. We're playing 2 Jester Config because it's a free special summon and it's a spellcaster, which allows us to go into our Crowley a little bit more easily. Next up, we are playing the triple Spellbook Magician of Prophecy, aka Blue Boy, which allows us to get our Spellbook engine online. We don't really need the normal summon all that much. The only thing we're normal summoning is Magician's Rod as well as the Blue Boy, so realistically, having 3 of this makes sense. Obviously, we're also playing the 2 Magician's Rod. I cut this to 2 because we don't really want to be playing too many normal summons, and yeah, we have other ways of getting this card into rotation. And then the 1 Jaugen for the Spellbook of Judgment target. Next up, we have the 2 Illusion Apprentice Illusion Magician for additional free specials to go into something like Crowley or the like. Last up, we have, moving on to the spells, we have triple Spellbook of Secrets. This is just the best spellbook. 1 power to to get additional power for OTKs, 1 Eternity to potentially add back something that we have banished off of something like a Fate. The 1 Spellbook of the Master. This card most notably requires more spellbooks, so just playing the 1 so that if you end up having other spellbooks, you can search it off of Secret or the Blue Boy. 2 Spellbook of Knowledge. This one is probably the best of the spellbooks that isn't specifically secret, due to the fact that it can send a spellcaster to the graveyard to activate its effect to just draw 2, which is very, very good just overall. Yeah, that's basically it. It's just like a +2. Or I guess it's technically neutral in card advantage, but yeah, just being able to draw 2 is very nice. Next up, we have ourselves the 2 Spellbook of Fate, as well as the 1 Judgment to close out the spellbooks. Why am I not playing more Knowledge? Realistically, the reason for that is because you don't want to see it all the time, because it does require you to have a spellcaster on your side of the field, so it's not something that you have to have, and like it does go neutral in card advantage, and it can be stopped by Ash, so all of that stuff kind of just meh. Yeah, moving on to the Dark Magician stuff, we're playing the 2 Magician's Salvation, which allows us to set the Eternal Soul. We're playing Triple Circle. We are also playing the Triple Soul Servant. This card is absolutely insane. I saw a deck list that wasn't playing this. That's a sin. You gotta play this card. This card's crazy. And, of course, the 2 Eternal Soul. And then the remaining cards are tech cards, the 2 called by the Triple Ash and the Triple Maxi. Pretty standard there. As for the extra deck, basically, most of this isn't going to be summoned every time, but we have it here nonetheless. We have the 1 Big Eye, the 1 Hierophant of Prophecy, and the 1 Ebon Magician, as well as, of course, Double Azaeus. We have, for our Link monsters, we're just playing Links and Xyz. We have the 1 Link Spider, the 1 Imduck, the 2 Crowley. The reason for this, it's just the best one. It allows us to search out one of our spellbooks to potentially get the Spellbook engine online, as well as potentially add additional spells for something like Judgment. 1 Nightmare Phoenix. this is just kind of a link to that maybe if you have access to the rest of the lines, or you have additional materials on your side of the field to go into Selene or something like that, you could just like pop a card and then continue through. We have 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Blackluster Soldier, Envoy, Soldier of Chaos, sorry. We have 1 Selene, 1 Access Code, and 1 Apollosa. I didn't summon the Apollosa, nor did I really summon the Imduck, nor the Phoenix, and I'd never really summoned any of the Xyz. However, with that being said, I think they're still good inclusions, just come up less often. So let's hop into the duels and show you how this deck performs. Before we get on to the rest of the video, did you know that 70% of the people who watch my content aren't subscribed? If you end up liking the content, consider subscribing. You can always unsubscribe later if you end up not liking it. Anyway, let's get on to the rest of the video. Alright, so here we are going second with a pretty decent hand. However, turns out they're also playing spell counters. There we go. They're also playing spell counters, so we're going to give them a whole bunch of spell counters. They're actually playing Metal Foes, which is rather interesting, but yeah. We're going to start off with Magician's Salvation to set the Eternal Soul, and then we're going to special summon out our Magician's Soul in order to gain the effect. We're going to send 2. Out comes the Ash Blossom, but that's not that big of a deal because we still have the Secret. So I ended up sending the Secret as well as the Salvation. Sad, but happens. We also have the Eternal Soul to grab back this Dark Magician, which is very nice. We're going to go for the Blue Boy here, and we're going to normal summon it in order to search out the Spellbook of the Master. Spellbook of the Master is going to reveal the fate in order to target the Secret to add Spellbook of Knowledge. We're then going to link off into Crowley with our 2 spellcasters. Crowley will reveal Judgment, Eternity, and Power. We're going to add Judgment. It's fantastic. That is what we wanted. We're going to activate the Judgment. We're then going to activate Fate. We're going to banish a 3 in order to banish that pesky field spell. And then we are going to activate our Spellbook of Knowledge, allowing us to draw 2 more. At this point, we will only be able to search 2 because we only ended up drawing into 2 spells. Or activating 2 spells post Judgment, which means we can only really get Jester Confit here. I guess we could have gotten Jester Confit, Magician's Souls, or the Blue Boy, but I figured this one is the one we want to draw the least. Yeah, drawing 2 Ash Blossom, not really the greatest. Would have loved another spell that we could have activated. Doesn't really matter though, my opponent is going to go Metal Foes Driver to pop their card, and then they're going to go for 1 counter. I'm going to negate that, and of course they have the second. At this point, I will Maxi just to draw a card and potentially stop them from activating anything else. In case they go for something else. They're going to go for Vanisher here, and they are going to try to banish our Dark Magician when it is summoned, and we are going to go for the Eternal Soul to bring it back. I ended up actually drawing Eternal Soul, which really sucks, but not that big of a deal. They're going to attack into the Dark Magician. That was a terrible mistake, but it's fine. We're going to go for Spellbook of Eternity to add back the Judgment. We are then going to activate the Judgment because we have more spells that we can activate. We're going to go for the Magician's Souls here in order to pitch the Eternal Soul in order to draw a card. We're going to draw into the Blue Boy, which is like the best card that we probably could have, and we're going to add to our hand the Knowledge. We're then going to go Crowley, and we have exactly 3 targets left in our deck. My opponent is just going to flip this up so that it stops activating. We have exactly 3 targets left for us to search, and we end up adding the Blue Boy, which really sucks. Yeah, we're going to special summon back the Dark Magician, send the bonus Blue Boy to the graveyard, and then draw 2 cards. We drew into Power and Called By, which is pretty good. Power allows us to gain access to basically the OTK. So yeah, pretty good for us here. We're going to go and activate Selene, bring back the Magician's Soul, and then go into Access Code. At this point, we have enough to pop 2 cards on their side of the field, so we're going to pop the 2 cards that are not combination because I don't want them to add another card from their deck to their hand. However, it doesn't really matter. They're going to add the Metal Foes that we end up destroying here due to their counter that they have in Grave. So, not a lot that I could do about that. Anyway, we're going to go for Secrets here to grab up a Fate, and then we are going to go for Power in order to target our Dark Magician and get lethal on board. My opponent sees that it's lethal and surrenders. Alright, so here we are going first this time, and this is more of a Dark Magician-centric hand. It's actually a really bad hand, but at the very least, we can do something here. So we're going to set the Eternal Soul, we're going to set the second one, and we do have Max C, so hopefully we can stop our opponent, but we will see. My opponent goes for Super Soldier Synthesis. Alright, interesting. I'm going to Max C here. Potentially it stops them from killing me. That's the plan. My opponent goes for the Blackluster Soldier. And we actually end up drawing into Ash. They don't actually hit the Ash, they hit the Jester Confit, which is probably the worst of the 2. We definitely needed the Dark Magician, so at the very least they didn't hit that. So not the worst, but yeah, they're going to deal a whole bunch of damage, proceed to the end phase, and at this point I will special summon my Dark Magician. Didn't special summon it earlier because otherwise they could have banished it with their Super Soldier. So there you go. We are going to draw into Jester Confit, so perfect. Now we can go into Crowley. Crowley effect will activate. This will get our Spellbook engine online, hopefully. Look at that. Just draw secrets. It's fine. We're going to go for the Blue Boy. Blue Boy effect will activate to draw, to add another secret. We don't really have anything else that we could realistically go for. Sure, I could have gone for something like Knowledge there and tributed away one of our cards, but I kind of want them just so that I can go into our access code. Now, I actually did this through a weird line. I could have gone into access code while still being able to tribute off one of our spellcasters. So realistically, I probably should have dealt with the spellcaster and gone for knowledge there. However, having secret is pretty good. We also are now going to bring back the Jester Confit in order to go into access code. Access code effect is going to boost itself. We're going to banish 1, pop a card. We're going to banish 2, pop a card. And then they're going to special summon one of their monsters because that card was destroyed. So we're just going to pop it. And now we are going to proceed to battle and deal 34 and 5. So not quite a 2-turn clock. Well, I guess technically it is, but there's that. Anyway, we're going to add back our Jester Confit. They're going to normal summon Gaia the Magical Knight and proceed to battle. Just pass the turn. We do have Ash Blossom if they had done anything like searched a card. But yeah, we're going to special summon out the Dark Magician. And at this point, the game is basically over. We even draw 4-turn the Blue Boy, which makes things a little bit easier. But we're going to go for secrets here to add the Master. We're going to activate Master here in order to reveal the fate, target secret, and add to our hand the knowledge. Now we can actually activate the knowledge to draw 2 more cards, and we draw into Apprentice Illusion Magician, which is pretty nice. We're going to special the Confit here and then link those 2 off into another Crowley. We're going to activate the Crowley in order to reveal a Fate, a Power, and an Eternity. All of those are pretty good because either way we're going to have protection with something like Fate, we're going to have additional OTK power with Power, and we are going to have the... what was the other one that we revealed? I cannot remember. Oh, Eternity. We're going to have additional follow-up with Eternity. So we're going to go for the Fate here to banish the back row. I think it was just, yeah, just kind of a bait. We're going to go for the Apprentice Illusion Magician, and then we are going to boost it up with Power. We're going to attack in for well over lethal and search out Judgment because it's funny. Good game. And here we have one of the most anime duels that I could have ever predicted. Blue Eyes White Dragon versus Dark Magician. So, obviously, we are playing the Spellbook version of Dark Magician, so we're going to add to our hand the Blue Boy in order to start this off. We're going to go for the Spellbook of the Master because I'm stupid and don't realize that I have, I don't have another Spellbook. So, instead I'm going to go into Crowley off of this Jester Confit. We're going to go Crowley here and activate its effect in order to reveal 3 cards. At the very least, we are getting a Spellbook, which gives us access to our Spellbook of the Master. That can then search up the Judgment. Little sloppy, but it's fine. We're going to go for the Judgment here, and then we're going to activate the effect of Magician's Salvation to set Eternal Soul. We're going to activate our... Spellbook of Knowledge to tribute off our spellcaster, and then we draw into Soul Servant. We're going to activate the Soul Servant, and we are going to put to the top of our deck. Doesn't really matter because it will just get shuffled away because we're going to search with the Judgment. So we're going to search Fate, Secret, and Eternity, and special summon out Jaugen. So this is the first time that we've seen Jaugen the Spiritualist, and if you don't know what it does, basically neither player can special summon monsters. That's it. That's the whole effect. That's all you need to know. Now, granted, I do have Max C in hand, but... of course, we're going to special summon the guy that floodgates our opponent. My opponent will then normal summon out a White Stone of the Ancients, realize that they can't do anything, and just draw a whole bunch of cards. Yep. They're going to set one and pass. Understandable. Nice White Stone. Anyway, I'm going to go for Spellbook of Secrets. My opponent will flip up the Skill Drain because, I don't know, reasons. Anyway, I have Fate in hand, so I'm just going to banish their set card. Or their skill drain. I'm going to normal summon the Blue Boy. My opponent concedes because how do they out Spiritualist? L. So, all in all, how does this tech perform? Honestly, I kind of like it. I do like the additional benefits that you gain from being able to play the spellbooks. While it does hurt the consistency a little, being able to have access to something like a Fate as well as Jaugen to floodgate your opponent when you have potentially a weaker hand is very nice. Also, being able to still go into something like an access code off of Selene due to the access that you have from your Dark Magician line is very nice. And getting the constant advantage and constant link material that is Dark Magician through the Eternal Soul in a control strategy is very helpful. So these two really do synergize very well together. Well, maybe not the best. They're certainly not Endymion or Sky Striker or something like that. It definitely has its merit. And overall, I really do like this deck. I am a big fanboy of the Dark Magician deck because I think that it plays very interestingly. So yeah, all in all, I think that this is a fun deck and I would highly suggest playing it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys didn't enjoy it, a like is very much appreciated. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh!, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.